Cam Radio, it's Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday nights, sports book. Cam Radio, man, we got a lot of football to talk about. Got a lot of, we got two games. We got all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
First game, was the Commanders and the Eagles. Of course, if you had Barkley anytime touchdown, three or more, you got paid. I did pick him on yardage, but I did lose with the under. I really thought I didn't foresee the Eagles scoring 55 points. I thought they would win. Yeah, that was kind of. It was going into the half. It was 27-15, so it was a pretty close. It was a pretty close game, but then come the fourth quarter, and Philly scored 21 points to put it over 73 total points. I think Jaden Daniels played well. I think the team showed a lot, and also there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done.
They still got a little ways to grow. They got some growing up to do, as they say.
Yeah, they but moving in the right direction. That's definitely
yes, moving in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And Philly, if you don't like them, whatever, I get, but you got to respect them. That's a good football team. That's a really good football team. The defense is there. There's no doubt. And and the running game of Barkley, it's just they'll wear you out. Was it that one? Yeah. There was one of them. I think I'm trying to see. Was it that? I can't remember. There was a couple drives. Philly was just eating away at the clock. And they.
Oh yeah.
And there was
they controlled the clock the whole game.
Yeah, there was no. There was nothing. And he got sacked 3 for 27, which wasn't bad.
Right.
They had. Let me see. Defense. Lost some fumbles. So the team Washington had three turnovers. Well, they had fumbles. They had 3 fumbles. Philly scored on every single one of those, and they scored on the interception. So you're talking 4 turnovers, 28
4
points.
turnovers to 0. Right.
Yeah,
28 points. And time of possession, it really wasn't that much of a difference. Philly had it for 30 minutes and 31 seconds, and Washington had it for 29 minutes and 29 seconds. So time of possession really wasn't a big thing. It's just turnovers. And Philly scoring off of those turnovers.
Yes. 28 points. 28 points on turnover. That's a lot to overturn. Philly's one of those teams where they capitalize on the mistake. And that's like I said, Washington kind of showed their age. They had, got a lot of rookies and stuff, and Philly showed why they're going to the Super Bowl for the second time. And was that second time in 3 years or second time in 4 years? Second time, yeah. Second time they're going to go
in 3 years.
Yeah,
because I think it's second time in 3 years. Because they played KC. They played KC in that Super Bowl and they lost.
Yes.
And then after that one, the Chiefs lost to Brady. Am I right? Well, they won 2 back-to-back.
Right, and then
last season and the season before.
Yeah. And then
they must have lost to Brady before they beat Philly.
Yeah, they lost to Brady when Brady was with Tampa.
Yes.
So So, but yeah, I think we'll cover the matchups. We got 2 weeks to cover the matchups.
Right.
But Philly's going to be tough. Capitalize on mistakes. Good running game. Really good defense. Well coached. They're in pretty good health. They're in pretty good health, which is a huge factor. That's why this
Hmm.
2 weeks is definitely going to um, play a factor. I mean, well, like I said, Washington had moving forward. They have a lot to be hang their hang. I mean, I know it doesn't. They're one game away from going to the Super Bowl. I get it,
Hmm.
but they have a lot going forward, and
Yes.
hopefully, hopefully he doesn't fall the way. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels doesn't fall the way of another LSU quarterback, Joe Burrow, super success, and then every
Hmm.
year it gets a little bit. We get a
Yeah.
little bit.
Let's. Yeah.
Yeah, the team, not so much him. No, Joe Burrow's is a stud. There's no doubt. But the team, they didn't put everything. Now, I think
Right.
Washington, we're going to see what they're going to give this young superstar to work with. Okay,
Right.
but
Right.
next year the film will be out on him. People, I mean, things change. You got to
Hmm.
always be, uh, always be changing with the times.
Hmm.
And got to give them a different look. You got to, just all kind of. Um, so that's we'll wait to see that. We'll definitely
Right.
wait to see that. Now on Philly, like I said, it all depends on what plays out. But like I said, they picked up a bunch of people, and that's what I like. That's what I like. It's not really about being a Philly fan, but just taking chances, picking up Barkley. I think AJ Brown was he a pick? I mean, just constantly growing the team as
Hmm.
the season goes, and that's what kind of separates a lot of teams. It's like they make acquisitions during the year, um,
Hmm.
especially right before trade or right before the
Right.
deadline. I mean, you gotta just steadily be adding parts and pieces.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's definitely that is definitely a key factor.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go to the Buffalo Kansas City game. This
Okay.
game was close, like we thought it was. You know me, I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan.
Hmm.
Kind of, just kind of stings. But until we make some changes, um, and I know there's some bad call. People go, "Oh, bad call." Yeah, there's bad calls in
That's
a lot of
true.
games.
Hmm.
A lot of games, and there were some drop balls. That's going to
Uh-huh.
happen. But we needed something. We just need a little bit more. I think Buffalo needs go a little bigger on defense because
Hmm.
they're one of the smallest in the league on defense. Now on offense,
Right.
um, and I really didn't care for the scheme exactly. I mean, he came out throwing for 2 weeks. You had Josh bottlenecked. I just I don't understand, and then people will say, or no, people will go, oh, maybe, and even I'm guilty. Hey, maybe he's not the coach to get us over the hump, right? So, but the thing is neither was Andy Reid 5 years ago,
That's
6 years
true.
ago.
That's
I
true.
mean,
He
he
lost
was
his
the
job in Philly because
right.
he
So
couldn't
he's
get
been
him over the hump.
yeah, couldn't get him over the hump. I mean, he had a lot of great. He's a great coach. He had never won any. He had never really won the big one until he came to Kansas City. So you got to kind of look at that stuff. It's
Hmm.
definitely. Um, I mean, hats off. Let's see what we got. Let's go. Trying to pull. Let me see.
Hmm.
Box score. Okay.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with you on the Bills. Uh, Beef up the defense a little bit. Get some big boys on that line. Uh, you need a shutdown corner. They need a
Yeah.
shutdown corner because the quarterbacks they play pretty good. They play pretty well, but you
Well,
need
they
a
had the
shutdown
injury.
corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They had the injury. Yeah.
yeah. They need a lockdown corner that's going to take away a side of the field so they could be
Correct.
a little bit more aggressive with the scheming on the defense. What I didn't like was the push to the left 4 or 5 times.
Yes, and
They figured
yeah.
that out, and you got James Cook that's that's playing outstanding. You know fake your fake your tush push, send him touchdown. Too easy.
I agree with you. I didn't like that neither. It's like they were even saying it. Well, they know Josh Allen runs the tush push to the left. What do? Go to the left, get stopped,
Stack the
and then
left.
they did it again. It was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, they know you're running to the left with the tush push. Stop. It was yeah.
Right.
There was some coaching, and everybody could be the $1 million coach while you're sitting at home, and it's you're out there, you're down there on that field, and a lot of pressure, a lot of people talking to you. So I mean,
Hmm.
we're not taking anything away. I mean, but Andy Reid seems to have the scheme, um,
Yes.
and it ain't he ain't beating Buffalo by much. He's beating them by that much, but it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
They're still winning. They still find
Right.
a way. They still fight, and then they're like, well, what about the 2 point conversion? I mean, it's half a dozen here.
Right.
Things could change. What if he would have caught the pass? That pass
Right.
was
What if Kincaid had caught it?
yeah. There's
You
all
know?
kind of.
So
It wasn't the greatest pass. Should he have caught it? I mean, kind of. If you look at it, I mean, you got one. Your job is your job. I mean, it is what it
right.
is. But when you add the human factor of it was a
Yeah.
little bit off, it was cold, lot of
Hmm.
things going on. Um,
The angle of the catch, but
yeah, the
like Michael
angle was
Irvin
not.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
what
But
did
like
Michael
Michael
Irvin
Irvin
say?
say, if it hits your hands,
Yeah,
you
so they
gotta
say
catch
if you can touch it, you
it.
can catch it. That's yeah.
If it touches
That,
you, you should catch it. But I get it. He was sliding. It was at an angle. You had to, your bodies could contort, and stuff like that easily happens. You know.
right. And what's crazy is they had a so neither quarterback threw an interception. Um, Fumbles lost 0. Kansas City had 1. Um,
Hmm.
it's just kind of they play both of them played a pretty. Everything was so close. Let me tell you how close it was. Josh threw for 227. Patrick threw for 237. He threw for 245.
Yeah.
Total running rushing yards team 147 Buffalo, Kansas City 135. I mean
Right.
they were neck and
So,
neck. It was I mean no
hmm.
I mean it was everything was they're so closely matched. I would like to see what's going on with Coop because I don't know. I would have I would have thought maybe um they would got him a little bit more involved. Now I'll tell you what, that Hollywood Brown for Kansas City, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. He
man,
showed
he's
up.
yeah, sure did.
He showed
Hopkins
up.
had one. Yeah, he threw the ball. I mean, he had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9 different people that he threw to. Um,
Hmm.
I like that. He moved the ball around. Um, Hats off. A lot of people, oh man, I hate Kansas City. I don't hate Kansas City. And they beat my Bills. I mean, more
Hmm.
power to you. It's a chance for us to see a three-peat. And
Right.
we'll get to that game, but this game was it was tight. Could have went
Hmm.
either way. There were some, it's heartbreaker. You rather get smoked than to get lose a heartbreaker by 3 points.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
Field goal away. And there was a lot of good props on. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up a little closer to me. Um, Now the rushing, uh, James Cook hit theirs. There was a lot of good. There was some props on here. Some that didn't make it. Um,
Hmm.
uh, Josh hit his. Here's a funny one. Pat Mahomes only had one TD. So there,
Right.
if you took him 1.5, you lost. I mean, and it's kind of funny that he only had one TD,
Yeah.
and with a score of 32-29. He They ran, Patrick ran it
Hmm.
in, and I think that's where the size. comes up a little bit, Lou. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because Patrick ran for two, Kareem ran for one. Um,
Right.
Josh didn't have a rushing TD, uh, which was kind of
Yeah, that
different.
is,
But
yeah, that's different from him that he didn't have more than, yeah. I agree with
yeah,
you on that.
he didn't have any. But you know, that being said, it was a very good game. Hats off to
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City. The spread was 2.5. So Vegas,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have got it live. There was a bunch of different live stuff that was going on. You could have got the Bills +4, I think, at one point, because they were
Mm-hmm.
losing 7-3. Um, the line, that's like I said. If you're gonna gamble live, you got to really be paying attention. You got to really pay attention. It's kind of
Right.
like about about you were telling me earlier when we were off camera about your parlay, and depending
Mm-hmm.
how the parlays. So if you bet a 10 team parlay, and the first 5 games are at the afternoon, the morning games, and
Mm-hmm.
you win all those, then you're more apt to get a better option, a buyout, than
Mm-hmm.
where you play a couple in the morning, a couple in the you know what I mean? Because then they're
Right.
waiting. There's too many different variables. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
One
yeah,
thing I
sometimes
did learn, yeah. Go
no. Go
ahead.
ahead. Would you? No, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say, one thing I did learn is that when a payout is available, you have to pay attention because they'll throw it up and they'll take it down just as fast. It depends on your anytime
App.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
If you hit
Okay.
those anytime now, if you're doing like like the way I gambled on the Philly and Washington game, I took the player stats
Prop.
on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took player props, and I noticed that if you're if you have one anytime touchdown that doesn't move, they treat you pretty good. But if it's more than one, it won't even light up at all. So you have to hit those anytime touchdowns if you don't if you want to like take the cash out before the game's over with because you're not going to get all of your
Right.
lines.
Right.
Be sure that those anytime touchdowns, make sure those hit because if they don't, then they're not going to offer you anything.
Another one is when you if you bet the over, and let's say the over's 50, and they're at 36 in the
Hmm.
third. Every time, if somebody scores, the buyout goes up for a short second. And
Hmm.
let's say it's now the over's 50, and
Right.
somebody scores and they make it 39. So the buyout's going to go up. Well, if the next team gets the ball, and the longer they have it, that buyout, because it's eating away at the clock, the buyout
Hmm.
starts, it'll take it off. It'll say unavailable. And if
Right.
they don't score, if your total win was 100 and they offered you 50 and they didn't score, still plenty of time. It may be $28 where they're offering you 50. What you got to
Right.
do is you got to if somebody scores and they offer you, you need to be paying attention. Basically, and the moral of the
Yes.
story is, yeah, you you got to be paying attention because when you're betting live, when you're gambling live, and you're watching the game live, because there's going to be offers made to you. You got any news? I know we talked about it earlier.
Hmm.
We'll get to the game. We got 2 weeks. We got any
Okay.
coaching news?
Yes, sir. We do have we call it the coaching carousel. Uh, these are not in any order. I've just did some research today and I pulled up most of the coaching moves so far. Okay,
Okay,
number
what you got?
one. Okay. Well, number one, we got Brian Schottenheimer. Of course, everyone knows by now he's been hired by the Dallas Cowboys. So he's going to be their new head coach. And he doesn't have, Jerry hasn't assembled his cast yet, but he did take the coaching job for that. We got Pete Carroll. He's been hired by the Las Vegas Raiders as head coach.
What do
And
you think about that one?
kind of on the well, it's hard to say. I just think Pete wanted to coach. He just wanted to coach. He wanted to get back into coaching. It seems he can't separate himself from Jim Harbaugh because
Yeah.
wherever Harbaugh is, Pete Carroll's right there on his tail. But yeah, the news on the web and in the sports media is like, of course, Tom Brady is a minority owner in the Vegas Raiders, but they're
Right.
saying that he got his hands over all of that, apparently. But yeah, you got Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders. His staff hasn't been put together yet. Aaron Glenn has left Detroit as defense coordinator. He is not a head coach of the New York Jets. They went ahead and pulled the trigger on that.
Okay.
We got Ben Johnson. He's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, which was a good pickup for them because they needed an offensive minded coach for their
Right.
quarterback. Okay.
Right.
Liam Cohen, the coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks, he is now the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you go online and you watch that clip, he makes the most terrible Duval chant you'll ever hear. It's like, and I don't get that. And I'm gonna finish the list, but just off the cuff,
Really?
who these coaches have? Like, I know they have PR people.
Yeah, they do. Yes, of course they
I,
do. Yeah.
I mean, because it wasn't like Jacksonville is its own entity. You have Florida and then you have Jacksonville.
Right.
So if you're gonna do the Duval chant, I think he should have waited and got acclimated because it didn't sound authentic. I understand you want to win over the fans. When you come in, you want to win your fans over by doing the chant. That's all fine, but he didn't even look confident doing it, you know. So kind of like a red flag, you know. And that's just me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just
yeah.
me, y'all. But it's a red flag. It's like um can't think of the coach name, but the coach for the Jets that was a deer in headlights at his press conference. He didn't last long.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That was that. Yeah. He took in
Yeah.
yeah. He came yeah. Cuz
Yeah.
because the coach that used to be over the New York Jets is somewhere else as a coordinator.
Robert Sala.
Yes, where did he go?
Yes. Um, I think he's the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars. I'll look it up
I
and,
think
and,
you're
and
right
lock that down.
because I
I think
thought
he took that DC job.
because what was crazy was he was so he came across as brash, and I don't know the man, but he just
Hmm.
I mean he was just it was like, dude, you haven't won anything yet. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you guys are getting better, and even when you win, maybe you should be humble. But
Right.
hey, that's just my opinion. So
Okay.
and
And
now for him to go to now to be a defensive coordinator, I mean nothing against, but you were a head coach, and
right.
I don't know, it's interesting. And then for carrot
Yeah.
for them,
Hmm.
well,
So
maybe they
they
can
got
turn them
Liam
around.
Cohen from maybe they got him.
Yeah,
I think he was the offensive coordinator for the Bucks. So they got him. Of course, Vrabel went to the New England Patriots.
right,
They're doing the whole New England reunion there because Josh McDaniels is back as the OC, and
right.
I think they're picking up someone else to be the defensive coordinator. They're still hiring for that, and you have the New Orleans Saints that don't know who their head coach is going to be because their offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, went to the Seattle Seahawks for the same job.
Wow.
So there you go. Um, it was a rumor put out in the sports media that Aaron Glenn didn't take the job. He was like, okay, if you want me to be head coach, Mickey Loomis got to get out of the way. He's not going anywhere. So he didn't take that job. Um, and everybody's looking at it. The Saints are dead in the cap. I mean, their cap is just killing them. So they can't do a lot with that, which means they're going to have to trade off all of their good players. You still have Derek Carr there. That was a Dennis Allen's pick. He wanted Derek Carr. He's not
Yeah,
there anymore. So
right.
they got a lot of work to do down in New Orleans. They're still searching for a head coach there, but it's a reboot. It's a reboot. So I'm not sure. I'll keep everyone posted on what's going on with the Saints. But for right now, they do not have a head coach, or a offensive coordinator, and I don't think they have a defensive coordinator either, unless they're going to use Ritz, who was the intern coach at the
Right.
time. Maybe he's going to get that DC job and get promoted up from special teams. But other teams have been asking him, for his services for their special teams as well. So we'll
Sure,
wait and
sure.
see. But yeah, but that's what I got on the docket for now as far as the coaching moves. But now that the
Um,
championship games are over, we'll probably hear some more stuff probably
oh yeah,
later on
yeah.
this week.
There'll be more. There'll be more, and and of course, wish everybody um success wherever they go. Wish Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
and Pete really looks pretty darn good to be 73 years old.
Yeah,
I th
he
I
is.
think he looks
Yeah,
he
I
looks
agree.
pretty. He looks awesome. Hopefully he can. But like, and we're gonna have to go. And when we come back, there's a lot to talk about. We'll
Hmm.
talk a little bit about the game because we got 2 weeks. Things are gonna change.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
but hopefully he'll be able to get the Raiders in the right direction. But going with the Saints, and it's not just the Saints, but spending a lot of money on a quarterback that doesn't work out. You know what I mean? It just the only reason why Denver got lucky is they got Bo Nix for cheap. I
Hmm.
mean, that's at the end of the day, that's really because they could have got they could have got killed over with the Wilson deal. They just happened to
Right.
get Bo Nix, and Sean Payton can work with them, and he made it doable. That's the only thing that they
Hmm.
got. That's the only advantage. But all right,
Right.
guys, when we get back, we talk about the Super Bowl, talk about some NBA. Want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Tony G, Big Lou. Remember, K Ham Radio, where we go ham.
Hell.
Cam Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday night. Appreciate everyone tuning in to the Sports Book on K Ham Radio. All right, so we have a Super Bowl February 9th, Sunday, February 9th. Um, Kansas City, Philly.
Hmm.
Right now the opening line. They haven't got all because the Super Bowl has more prop bets than anything. You can bet on the coin
Right.
toss. You can bet on all kind of stuff. So, but right
Hmm.
now they got Kansas City favored by 1.5. They got obviously Phillies plus one and a
Hmm.
half.
Right.
Money lines 125 on Kansas City and plus 105 on Philly. We'll
Hmm.
get more in depth on this game next week. We'll have a whole
Right.
segment on it. I mean, right now there's people are healing and the lines will come out and we'll um see what kind of action. But like I said on the Super Bowl, you can bet on who wins who punts the ball first, who on and on. They really get it crazy with the props. Um, Should be a really good game. It's in New Orleans. Um, do you think it will be a highly sought game? You know what I mean? Because how some games are more viewed than others. See, are you? Because I think this is going to be a highly viewed game because I think whether you hate Kansas City or you love them, they're going to want to see if they're not going to get the three-peat.
Right. Nobody wants them to get the three-peat, but every team that wins becomes the villain. The Patriots was the villain for a while. So yeah, no one wants to see them three-peat. But I'm not I'm not so sure, Tony. I think it's doable. I think it's
Oh, it's
doable
doable.
because that defense of KC, it's not going to be as easy for Saquon with the defense of KC, but he's just
Yes,
running rampant over everybody. It's
he
not going to
is.
be easy. He's going to get his yards, but it's not going to be as easy as it was with the Commanders.
Yeah,
But
it's a totally different setup. It's
mhm.
Philly. I mean, Philly's. I mean, Kansas City's number one seed in AFC.
Right.
Philly was two. I guess it was two. It was or
Hmm.
three. No, they were three.
Yeah.
So anyway, game starts at 5:30, and I've said this 100 times, and people might think I'm crazy. I really wish they would put the Super Bowl on Sunday. I mean, I'm sorry, on Saturday. And the reason being is everybody's got to go to work. They drag it out
Hmm.
the hour show, um,
Hmm.
and it's a late. And sometimes it finishes late. I just think like on a Saturday we could just
Right.
blow this up. People have the next day
Yeah.
off. It could be a big event, but I know it's Sunday.
Right.
Sundays. It'd be worth a try just one time, see if they can. But anyway, we will. But right now, they got some prop. They got. If you're on Caesars, they got some props.
Hmm.
And they do the. I call it the. Where they bundle everything together. Like here's
Right.
one. Backfield bundles. Eagles win. Jalen Hurts TD. Jalen Hurts 50 plus rush yards. Saquon Barkley TD. Saquon Barkley 100 plus plus 100 yards plus. It pays plus 800. So I
Mm.
mean, but that's kind of a crazy. Which the parts that I
Yeah.
don't like about the ones when they pre-wrap them for you is
Yeah.
I don't like Jalen Hurts plus 50 yards running.
No,
That's the one
I don't like
that's
that.
yeah, yeah. I um yeah, they got them. They got a bunch of them like that. But anyway, the other individual props so so far on Caesars aren't out, but they'll be out. Like I said, we got 2 weeks before the game,
Hmm.
February 9th. Like I said, we'll get into the money next week. Let's go. Now we're gonna switch our let me see. Standing. All right, let's go to NBA.
Okay.
Start with the Eastern Conference. Cavaliers had a little skid. They lost three in a row. Um, Not really worried about them. They're playing awesome ball, and I think it would be I think it would be really cool if they won a championship after LeBron. Even though I know it's been a
Yeah.
while, but just to be cool
Hmm.
because just because it's cool that they rebuilt. They're a really good team. Um, and what's going on in Miami? Why won't they just trade that man?
Because Pat Riley is a guy that's gonna stick to his guns. Pat Riley want, and I'm pretty sure he's going to trade him, but he's going to trade him when he wants to trade him. And Jimmy Butler's are doing these little things because now he's been suspended indefinitely,
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
right? Because he walked out of
Practice
shoot arounds. Yeah,
shoot
they
arounds.
were
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
shoot arounds. He walked out, missing flights to cities, flying by himself. And these are just little things that he's doing, you know, in between the lines to where he's not doing enough to get him fined big, but he's just doing a little bit, you know, just to tick them off or, just to get under their skin.
Right.
Uh, and of course, they're not going to trade you to where you want to go. They're going to trade you for the best value that they can get out of you. Uh,
Sure.
he's throwing hints out there. One night he wore the Phoenix Suns colors on his shoes, or he'll dye his hair a certain color, just to stir up the speculation, and just to keep the fire burning under the Miami Heat. Because it's like, I mean, I get both sides of it. Jimmy wants help, but Miami is not a team that spends a lot on free agents. They kind of work within their own farm base. And but you know, Pat Riley is a tough negotiator, and he's not going to bend. So, and that's why we're getting what we're getting. We're getting little antics, the missing flights and things like that. You know, that's just to put the pressure on them to trade him, but they'll suspend him indefinitely and just let him sit at home and fine him. But if their team, but if their team gets to losing, it's not going to be a good look.
So my thing is I think Jimmy has been really, really a pretty stand up guy. I mean, he's been trying to do it himself for the last 3 seasons we've been talking
Since
about. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Yeah, and I
really
mean,
since the pandemic, since
real right
they
since the
they went to
since
the
the
finals in the
pandemic.
pandemic. Yeah,
So you haven't given him any help. He's been a pretty stand up guy, playing his heart out. If you're not going to give him any help, then why not just trade him? I mean, you
right.
get. I know you get into egos, and let's see where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got everybody's got a big ego. It's like calm down. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
They're at
right now
500.
yeah, they're at 500. They're sitting
Well,
at
they're
number
yeah,
8.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
500.
yep, the
I
22
mean,
and 22.
yeah, that's what I got. I mean, so they're at 500. But in his defense, so he comes back. Let's say the schedule is good. They win, they go to the playoffs, but that's when they get beat because they just don't have enough. They don't have enough
Don't have enough
power.
talent.
They got him. I mean, and I get it. He can only carry you so far, and
Right.
I just like I said, it doesn't make sense. And
Yeah,
because
because they didn't bring any of the free agents over there to help him out.
no,
Paul George was out there. James Harden was out there. Dame was out there.
yeah,
DeMar DeRozan was out there. You had plenty. Kyrie for a while was out there. You had
yeah.
plenty of guys that could have, you know, helped him, but Miami they just have their way of how they do things is just not working right now,
So
especially with
when
their
you
star player.
when you bring up Kyrie, so Dallas is a little bit above 500. So last
Mhm.
year was the magic between Noka and was that just a fluke, or do you think they could get that back?
I think they could get it back, but now you add Clay into the mix, so now it kind of starts over because there was some about the first quarter of the season, Kyrie and Luca had to figure out, who's hot. You take over. They was kind of
Yeah,
like, you do it. No, you go ahead. No, you go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah.
And later on in the season, they kind of figured out, okay, Kyrie's on fire, his night. Luca's on fire, his night. And now you got another shooter with Clay,
Right.
not, so now there's that three-head dynamic. I think they had the same problems that Phoenix had with Booker, KD, and the Rose.
Not
Got
knowing,
three
yeah, because
guys that are scorers, but there's no with
leader
Phoenix, there's no alpha. There's no
alpha.
alpha there. KD leads by his play. He's not a barker. He's not gonna be like you here, you there. He doesn't motivate like that. You know, he motivates by being, consistent.
Yes.
And he's not a rah-rah guy. He'll just let me do my work. Everybody do their work. and we should be a good team.
Right,
But
right,
they
right,
need a alpha dog there, somebody that's going to take it over, like, hey, and run, run their offense or run their scheme and let everybody know what it need to be. But they don't have that. They just have contributors.
yeah, like I said, when you add Clay, I mean, but it's still, I mean, it's still time because they could get
Hmm.
hot on a run. Um, what about the Pelicans? They're going to get another number one draft choice. Is that basically where we're?
I think that's basically where we at. They want to get off Zion, but not a he's not a big ticket because the
Yeah,
teams don't want to. He hasn't showed his worth to give up what I have to get him in on my team to make it better.
yeah.
He doesn't have, he doesn't have a case build up for that because he's up and down with his weight. He can't stay on the floor, can't stay healthy because of his weight. The fact that they had to put that clause in your contract, you know, but those are things that these owners are looking at and they're like,
Sure.
okay, he's a young guy, phenomenal basketball player. He's a great basketball player, but there's some things that he's got to get more disciplined, more dedicated. It doesn't seem like he's dedicated to playing and winning basketball. He just loves playing basketball.
And the other thing is I wonder, I wonder if ownership and management just isn't where it needs to be with the Pelicans because I mean, they've gotten other first round draft choices and they've all left. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, every now and then they'll have an okay year. Um, I wonder how committed they are to that team. I know they got a rich owner. You know what I mean? Like you can own the
Mm-hmm.
team, but are you committed to really making it a better team? You know what I mean? Or
Right.
you just novelty
Or
that
is it
you
just
have a
something you
team?
say you
Yeah,
can brag with? Yeah, I got an
yeah,
NBA team.
yeah,
What do you have?
yeah. Right. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. It's just not a good. Just not. I mean, I know there's some team. I mean, look at Golden State.
Right.
Prior to that, I mean, Golden State was. I mean, nobody talked about Golden State. I mean, they won in the '70s. Um, yeah, I mean, now Golden State. I mean, last 15 years become like where people want to go. They want to play. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and they won championships. I mean, pretty impressive actually, taking a very not desirable team and
Right.
turn into a very desirable team. Um, but there's a lot, like I said, there's just a lot of there's a lot of that. You get these teams, and I think the owners, like when you look at like Memphis Grizzlies is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty consistent. They're in a very small market. Um, and then you look at what's the other one that's they're having a little. They're
Timberwolves.
having the Timberwolves. I know they're a little bit over, but they've been very consistent. I mean, they've made some serious. I look at like the Thunder, and they're
Mm-hmm.
hot.
Yeah.
But I saw them play in the NBA Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and they were playing. They played Milwaukee, and they looked terrible. And I didn't know if it was just when they're off, or the pressure was too
Mm-hmm.
much. But I don't know. Um, it was kind of like the Celtics in years past, going back. If they were off, they were off. You know what I mean? It was going to be a long night for you if you picked the
Right.
Celtics. It wasn't. I mean, they were either on fire or they weren't. You know what I mean? It was just kind
Right.
of one of those things. And I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I'll tell you what I think would be cool. It would be cool if they took Jimmy and they sent him and they sent him to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's already won one. but he could use just another talent like that.
Right.
Um,
Especially when you got Dame and Giannis, that takes all of the pressure off of him, and he can just
right.
be a floor general.
Yeah,
Take his shots when he need to, but facilitate. And
right.
that's what he doesn't have in Miami, and that's where his frustration comes from.
Yeah, I mean he's a one man show, very one dimensional, and the people he has around him, they play hard. They play hard for him, but they're only at a
Mhm.
certain level that they can give. They only can give.
Right, right.
He's getting all that he can get out of them. He
Hmm.
needs some. He just needs some help. He
Some
definitely needs
alphas.
some.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm a little surprised that your Lakers are as high as they are. I didn't know what to
And
expect.
I am too.
Are you really?
I yeah, I am too. I'm I'm of course I'm happy, but I'm shocked because the West is a juggernaut.
Yeah.
And for them to be where they are with the talent that they have, it's pretty shocking to me because I didn't expect, especially with a new coach, new scheme, and everybody has to learn that offense and pick their poison, if you will.
Sure.
But now I do believe they need a center because of the fact that AD doesn't like to play center. He's a center,
Right.
but he doesn't like to play center.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
likes
yeah.
to be a power forward.
Yeah.
So they do need a center, you know. But other than that, they're doing very well with the role players they have.
There.
They're doing
And
very well
so
with it.
the reason why I say I'm surprised because the way the season started
Hmm.
with the whole Bronny thing, I thought it was going
Yeah,
to be I thought it was like, "Oh, we're just going to be a circus this year." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Cuz
right. Yeah,
yeah, it
we're
was
just
like, "Oh,
gonna
we're just
win
going to
them.
do whatever yeah, we'll do whatever we want to do." And then all that and I really don't understand. We haven't really talked about this. I didn't really understand the purpose of that whole deal. No, I get that's his son, but in
Yeah,
your
we
heart
get
of
it,
hearts,
but
yeah, in your heart of hearts, you knew he wasn't good enough.
right
That's what I'm getting at. And it was like,
because he
yeah,
didn't. But go ahead, Tony. But what I was about to
no,
say was
say it.
uh because he didn't he didn't jump off the page in college.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah,
it's like, okay, so he got a spot on the team. There were plenty of players in the tournament, that balled
yeah,
better than he did, but not knocking what happened. Not knocking what happened. If you get the opportunity, get the opportunity. You
sure,
know,
sure.
I'm all for it. Dad's playing with their sons. I'm all for it they're good. If they're good.
Where is he now?
And really
Is he
right
really
now
still
he's
there?
I think so. I think that he goes to the G League, and then he gets called up, and then he gets called up for a few games, then he goes back to the G League. He needs to stay in the G League to learn the speed and the tempo of the NBA, I think.
I mean, it was a great example, and I'm not knocking this. It was a great way to get your son exposed
Hmm.
and to get a big check, a big enough check that because I heard rumors with all the little deals and everything, it was 25-30 million dollars. So,
Right.
last time I checked, that's a huge check. You should be able to, and then plus a bunch of other deals. These
Yeah,
guys
little
now,
endorsements here and there.
yes,
Yeah.
these guys now, all these deals and making, there's a lot of money on the table. So all it takes is sometimes is just 7 minutes of fame.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden that 7 minutes you could turn into an hour. Now it will run out
Right.
eventually. But
Hmm.
so my hat's off to them on that. It just like I said, that's why I really thought when they came with that, I thought, oh, it's gonna be a joke this year. But they
Yeah.
got rid of that. They took all the I think what made it really bad was when people realized that he really, really wasn't that good, and
Right.
then people had that look like,
What's going
what
on
did
here?
you just? Yeah, but then this stopped.
He's on
They
the
sent him
floor. He's
down.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so, but they stopped it, got him out of there, and then hush hush, let's play some basketball. So that part I'm good. Like I said, they'll be
Hmm.
in the they'll be in the playoffs, and like I said last year, they made a nice run in the playoffs. Was not definitely no pushover. We've talked about the
Right.
Mavs. Um,
Hmm.
then you got Minnesota and you got the Phoenix Suns, a little bit over 500. I know everybody's waiting, and you got the Clippers hanging.
Hmm.
The Clippers are
Hanging in there.
hanging in there. It's. I mean, they're playing pretty good basketball, but it's like every year they just really can't make a true run for the championship.
No,
We
because
could put.
their superstar is a part-time player. That's what's killing them. But when Kawhi is on the floor, when he's healthy, no one can touch him when
Oh
he's
no, there's no.
healthy.
Yeah,
But it's that part. He gets in, he gets a good run going. We're like, okay, here come the Clippers. Kawhi is in his bag. James Harden has even, you know, his act has been cleaned up even more as far as like playing for him. He's been doing his thing.
yeah.
So you think, okay, well, we're ready now. Then he gets hurt or he has to sit out, and it hurts the team. It's the
It
chemistry and
does.
all of that.
It really does. It's yeah. Maybe the worst thing that could have happened was him winning a championship in Toronto. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. The man's he's in control of his own destiny, so I can't really knock him there. As a fan, we have aggravation of going, oh
Right.
man, you yeah. But I mean he's it's so funny. I think the Raptors were good one more year or two more years after he
Hmm.
left, and now
Yep. 2 more years after
they're
they left.
yeah, they're getting back to irrelevancy. Um
Hmm.
uh, um but yeah, that's yeah, it's very hard when you're a superstar is a part-time player. That is
Hmm.
definitely in Boston, I mean Boston's they're not number one, they're number two. And they're right there. I mean
Hmm.
they're right there, and they're going to be dead in the heat. Um, Even the Knicks, the Knicks are there. Uh,
Yeah. That Knicks trade was a heaven
Huge.
sent for them
Yes.
because
Yes.
they're playing some good basketball. They're playing some good basketball in New York again. And
Yes, they are.
Cleveland is just lights out.
Yes.
Cleveland just lights out.
Cle-
I saw one of their games when they played. Um, I can't remember who they played, but it was one of the top 10 teams in the NBA, and they just put a spanking on them.
right.
And I was like, wow, these guys are really good. They're really good. So, but we'll see. The playoffs is just like in football. Playoffs in basketball is a whole nother league. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah.
where it goes later in the season after the All-Star break. That's when everybody kind of cranks it up a little bit. So we'll
Right.
see. We'll see how the competition plays them after this All-Star break.
Um, and you got the Pacers in it. Detroit's a little bit over, one game over 100
Hmm.
or 500. Um, what's so funny is you see these like Detroit who won championships. And it's funny
Hmm.
they'll last a period of time, and then it'll be decades before they can even
Yeah,
get in it.
they could get it.
And I don't know, and I don't, I think sometimes, and I'm saying this, and I'm sure there's somebody who's gonna want to cuss me out. Sometimes I don't know if the owners just say, "Hey, we've won some championships. Let's back out. Let the superstars play out, and then let's just suck it up for a while." You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I mean,
Yeah,
because
because we're
you
still going to
can't.
charge the same price for the tickets to get in here.
Yeah, we'll be hot for a while. Because when you look at the Bulls, you know what I'm saying. You're telling me that
Oh man,
they couldn't put together another championship. They couldn't put together another team similar or something. I mean, we
right.
just kind of they had Noah. Remember they traded for Noah that
Hmm.
one. That was a little pretty good team. I mean, but it's always his career was short lived
Hmm.
in the NBA, and he was a stud. But
Yeah, he
anyway,
just kept. I think he had like a ankle or a foot or something that could
yes,
never heal
yes,
right for him.
yeah, because he played for Gonzalez, right? Or Gonzalez,
Florida.
Florida. That was it. Yeah, my bad. I'm over
He
here,
played for Florida. Yeah.
Florida. So, all right, we got short time coming up. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Big Lou. Remember, next week we'll get into it deep and heavy on the Super Bowl, and by that
Mhm.
time we'll have a week before the game. All your props should be out. We'll have the injury report. We'll have the somewhat of the real injury report. We'll have, and then we can kind of go from there and cover some more basketball. I want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night. Thank you, Big Lou. I want to thank everybody at our KM family right here
All
on
right.
KM Radio, where we go.
Damn.